All right, here we are, Thursday evening. It's weather for Weather Geeks time here on the 28th day of May in 2020. Today was a lot better than the 28th day of May 1 year ago. Yes, we had some rain this morning. It even was a little bit heavy for a time, but it was nothing compared to what we were dealing with on today's date in 2019. We had flooding problems, we had hail, we had damaging winds, 2 to 4 inches worth of rain on average across the region. Some places were harder hit than others, but the Boardman area hit particularly hard, the 224 corridor, and this was just one of several very wet days last year in late May and into June. Some places in May and June combined last year had over a foot worth of rain, even 15, 16 inches in some spots. Very wet late spring and early summer last year. All right, this morning's rain, nothing like that. I had 0.84 at my place in Boardman. About 3/4 of an inch was fairly common in Columbiana, up to Canfield, downtown Youngstown as well, and up towards the airport in Vienna. Kind of a similar situation there, 0.6, 0.7. Pretty common. Amounts were a little bit lower as you got over towards I-79 in Mercer County, and then the sun came out this afternoon. Here's a look at the 12-hour radar loop. The steady rain ended around midday. Had one more band of showers and sprinkles that pushed through. It's actually turned into a warm, humid, but generally pretty nice evening, and it should be a nice sunset this evening. What pushed through this morning was, for a hot minute, Tropical Storm Bertha. Yesterday morning, it was named right before it made landfall. It got its act together over the Gulf Stream and then made landfall in South Carolina, quickly raced up the Appalachians, and that's what brought us the wet weather this morning. Now, it's never been much to look at. That is for sure. I mean, this is what's left of it right here. You wouldn't even know that was once a tropical system. But that's it, moving through parts of Ontario and Quebec. Our next weather maker is this cold front right out through here. Now, this front is not much to look at right now. The air mass, there really is no air mass change, I should say, on either side of this front. The true cooler air is up across parts of Canada and just starting to bleed into the U.S. And that front is going to become sharper, more well-defined as we go through tomorrow and into tomorrow night. Is this trough of low pressure, this little dip in the jet stream, which is right up here. Watch as this kind of deepens and intensifies as I roll this animation forward. That'll lead to the cold front sharpening up. It'll lead to cooler air being thrown out of Canada and down into the Midwestern U.S. and into the Great Lakes and Northeast. And distinct air mass change coming our way, but the transition could be a little bit bumpy, that is for sure. Our high-res FUTURECAST, quiet for this evening as we head through the late night hours tonight. Little disturbance, could produce a shower. There's a small chance of a clap of thunder with this, no big deal. A lot of us won't even notice it. And a small chance for a shower remains in our forecast for the first few hours of daylight tomorrow. But things get more interesting, I think, as we get into tomorrow afternoon, early tomorrow evening. That front, as it sharpens up, is going to run into an air mass that will be pretty warm, pretty humid. Now, the severe weather threat tomorrow locally may be really contingent upon cloud cover. If the morning spotty showers keep it fairly overcast for a while, that's going to reduce the shower and thunderstorm chance around here, or certainly the heavy thunderstorm chance around here later in the day. If we see a few hours of appreciable sunshine and temperatures warm up into the upper 70s, even the lower 80s, with dew points in the 60s, strong cold front, that's a pretty good recipe in the warmest part of the day for some heavy, gusty storms. Things will quiet down pretty quickly by 8 to 9 p.m., and then quiet but cooler for the weekend. SPC, as expected, I told you this last evening, Storm Prediction Center did bring the risk categories farther west into Ohio and western PA for tomorrow. In fact, they introduced a slight risk, kind of a 2 on a 1 to 5 scale, for a lot of eastern Ohio, western PA, the panhandle of West Virginia for tomorrow, and early tomorrow night. I think the main window here is between 4 and 8 p.m. By far and away, the number one risk will be a damaging wind gust. Hail is going to be possible. Will it be big hail, impactful hail, call your insurance company kind of hail? Probably not. But small hail, that's going to be a possibility, maybe up to pennies, maybe quarter size at most. Flash flooding is kind of a tertiary risk. That's going to be contingent on storms training. If you just get one thunderstorm tomorrow, you're not going to have flooding problems, more than likely. But if you get a couple within a couple of hours, if you live in an area that typically has some issues when we get some bouts of tropical rains in the spring and summer, might have some isolated problems with flash flooding. But I don't expect this to be a widespread flooding event. I don't expect tornadoes to be an issue here locally when we look at all the severe weather parameters tomorrow. you'll notice really none of these brighter colors on our legend up here at the top. None of these show up tomorrow. And so I think the tornado risk is very, very close to zero for us tomorrow. Just a reminder, as we transition from May to June, which we're going to do on Monday, typically, climatologically speaking, the tornado risk and the severe weather risk overall shifts farther north into farther north latitudes. So in May, Tornado Alley, which has actually been pretty quiet this May, starts to quiet down a little bit by June, especially the southern part of the Plain States, and the northern plains, the upper Midwest, extending east into the lower Great Lakes, becomes a little more prone to see severe weather and tornadoes as we get into meteorological summer. And this weekend is May 31st on Sunday. That means it's the 35th anniversary of course, the most famous tornado in our area, the Niles-Wheatland F5 tornado of May 31st, 1985. Touchdown in Portage County and moved across the southern tier of Trumbull and eventually ended up in the southern tier of Mercer County and in parts of that path, F5. And, if you're a longtime Valley resident, no doubt, especially if you lived in those areas, you have memories seared into your brain about that day. We did a big special 5 years ago on the 30th anniversary of that event on 21 News and online. We're not going to do a full-blown special about it this time, but we will be mentioning it on our newscast certainly tomorrow and over the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, we'll have a mixed bag of clouds and sun Saturday, just a big air mass change for the weekend. I think we'll see more in the way of sunshine Sunday as high pressure builds in, but it's not going to feel like May 31st. I mean, it's going to be chilly-ish, especially in the morning and again in the evening. Low 60s should about do it Sunday afternoon. All right, as far as temperatures go, as we get into next week, we'll start out very cool on Sunday, and for the first day of June on Monday, we'll only do 67. Keep in mind, on June 1st, our average high is about 73. We'll get up to about average by midweek, and summer's going to come back. Pool weather's going to come back. I think we'll be flirting with 80 again. If not by next Friday, then probably next weekend. All right, little programming notes. This is the last weather for Weather Geeks for about 11 days. I've got some time off starting tomorrow and taking us through the following weekend. My first day back will be Monday, June the 8th. With severe weather, a possibility tomorrow. I'm not going to go completely off the grid, although I'll need to be partially off the grid. But I'll try and pay as much attention to the weather as possible and bring you some updates on social media. I will not be on 21 News, though, tomorrow through next weekend. I've only had 2 vacation days used so far here in 2020. There's not been many reasons to use vacation days. We haven't really been able to go anywhere. But finally, some time off starting tomorrow. Thank you, as always, for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you back here for more editions of this video starting on Monday, June the 8th. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. Have a great Friday, a great weekend, and a good next week.